Hello again, it is Nora. Have you ever wondered why retail investors always seem to be one step behind the major institutions? You look at your phone, see a stock price, click buy, and by the time your order actually registers in the system, the price has already moved away from you. Some call it bad luck. Others think it is just the natural friction of a bustling financial system. But here's the thing. It is not luck, and it is certainly not natural friction at all. You are playing a game where the opponent can see the cards in your hand before you even realize you have been dealt them. Welcome to the invisible architecture of the modern stock market. A place not built of brick and mortar or governed by human emotion, but constructed entirely out of fiber optic cables, microwave towers, and algorithms so blistering fast they operate in timeframes the human brain cannot even begin to comprehend. Tonight, we are going to pull back the heavy curtain on this digital illusion. We will explore how high-frequency trading transformed the financial world into a digital hunting ground. To truly grasp the illusion of the modern market, we must first look backward. Decades ago, the stock market was a physical, tangible place. It was humans shouting across a crowded trading pit, waving paper tickets, scrambling over one another to secure a good price for a block of shares. The speed of a trade was entirely dictated by human biology. How fast someone could shout, how quickly somebody could write down a number, or run a paper slip across the floor. This system, incredibly messy and incredibly loud, was fundamentally balanced by physics. Information traveled slowly. A rumor on Wall Street took days to become a newspaper headline in a different state. If you had an edge, it was because you possessed superior analytical skills, unmatched patience, or deep industry connections. But slowly, over the decades, the human element was systematically removed and replaced with wires. The shouting stopped, the paper vanished, and the floor went quiet. As trading migrated to computerized systems in the late 1990s and early 2000s, efficiency increased dramatically. Transactions that once took days to settle were now taking mere seconds. For the everyday investor, this seemed like a golden era. Commissions plummeted, access became universal, and you could finally buy stock from your living room couch while wearing pajamas. But this newfound digital landscape also opened the door to a entirely new breed of market participant. The quantitative hedge funds and proprietary trading firms realized that in a digital world, speed was no longer a convenience. Speed was an infinite weapon. They understood that if they could process market data and execute trades just a fraction of a second faster than everyone else, they could theoretically siphon pennies off of millions of transactions every single day. This relentless realization kicked off the greatest, most expensive, and most secretive arms race in the history of global finance. This arms race was not fought with nuclear weapons or conventional armies, but with fiber optic glass and microwave transmitters. Firms began spending hundreds of millions of dollars just to shave a few milliseconds off the time it took their data to travel from data centers in New Jersey to the exchange servers. They tunneled through mountains, deliberately carving out the most perfectly straight line possible through the earth. Because in the world of high-frequency trading, a slightly curved cable could mean you lose the trade to a competitor. When fiber optics were deemed too slow because light travels slightly slower in glass than it does in the air, they switched to microwave repeater networks. They built massive steel towers across the landscape, blasting trading data through the atmosphere at almost the literal speed of light in a vacuum. All of this extraordinary engineering, all this immense capital expenditure, was built for one single purpose: absolute speed supremacy. And the timeline of this supremacy is fundamentally alien to human perception. When a retail investor clicks buy on their beloved smartphone app, the human brain takes roughly 300 to 400 milliseconds just to recognize the visual confirmation on the display. By the time those electrical signals travel down your optic nerve and your conscious mind processes what has just happened on the screen, a high-frequency trading algorithm has already executed thousands upon thousands of trades. They measure their advantage not in seconds, but in microseconds. A microsecond is 1/millionth of a single second. It is the amount of time it takes a beam of light to travel a mere 300 meters. To an algorithm, a millisecond is an absolute eternity. In that tiny sliver of invisible time, they can spot your incoming buy order, race ahead of you to the exchange market, purchase the exact shares you wanted, and instantly turn around to sell them back to you at a slightly higher premium. The sheer scale of this microscopic arbitrage is almost impossible to truly visualize. Imagine spending billions of dollars just to shave 1.5 milliseconds off their transmission times from Chicago to New York. Why? Because that 1.5 milliseconds allows them to legally front-run ordinary investors and traditional mutual funds. They act as a toll booth on the superhighway of modern finance. Every time a pension fund tries to invest the hard-earned retirement savings of thousands of teachers or firefighters, these algorithms step in the middle. They clip a fraction of a penny off every share exchanged. A fraction of a penny sounds completely harmless, almost meaningless in the grand scheme. But when you are trading hundreds of billions of shares every single month, those microscopic fractions of a penny quickly compound into astronomical, unassailable fortunes, silently extracted from the pockets of long-term investors. This deeply entrenched system is further solidified by a controversial practice known as colocation. High-frequency trading firms actually pay astronomical fees to the stock exchanges themselves for the privilege of literally placing their proprietary servers inside the exact same heavily guarded data centers as the exchange's own matching engines. By physically placing their computers just a few feet away from the exchange servers, they effectively eliminate network latency almost entirely. It is the digital equivalent of being allowed to sit inside the referee's pocket during a high-stakes sporting match. This means the playing field is not just tilted, it is completely vertical. The exchanges profit massively from selling this physical proximity, creating a powerful, mutually beneficial ecosystem that actively discriminates against anyone who cannot afford the exorbitant cost of admission. The retail investor, sitting at home on a standard internet connection, is essentially bringing a wooden knife to a supersonic, hypersonic missile fight. The most insidious aspect of this ecosystem is the creation of what is known as phantom liquidity. When you look at your trading screen, you might see massive blocks of thousands of shares waiting to be sold at a specific price, giving you the comforting illusion that the market is deep and stable. But in reality, those orders are effectively a mirage. Imagine a grocery store where the shelves are overflowing with apples. But the moment you reach out to put one in your cart, every single apple vanishes into thin air. That is exactly what high-frequency algorithms do. They post thousands of buy and sell orders across multiple exchanges to test the market's boundaries. But the instant a real buyer like you steps forward, the algorithms instantly cancel their orders and retreat. They completely pull their liquidity before your incredibly slow internet connection can even reach the exchange to match the trade. This constant barrage of phantom liquidity creates an incredibly dangerous fragility within the global financial system. The truth is, the market only looks stable when everything is perfectly calm. The moment unexpected bad news hits, or genuine panic begins to set heavily in, these lightning-fast algorithms are programmed to immediately shut off and withdraw from the market entirely to protect their capital. When the machines suddenly disappear simultaneously, the very liquidity they promised evaporates in a microsecond, leaving a total, terrifying vacuum. We saw this horrifying reality during the notorious flash crash of May 2010. In a matter of mere minutes, the Dow Jones Industrial Average mysteriously collapsed by nearly 1,000 points, momentarily wiping out roughly $1 trillion in overall market value. All because algorithms triggered a cascading, unstoppable loop of automated, blind selling into a completely empty, deserted order book. The overarching terror of these flash events is not just the sheer magnitude of the monetary destruction, but the profound realization that human beings are no longer holding the steering wheel. We have willingly handed over the keys to the most vital economic engine on the planet to lines of cold, autonomous code. The old Wall Street adage remains deeply haunting today. Liquidity is everywhere until you actually need it. When true panic arrives, the machines do not feel a sense of civic duty or an obligation to maintain stable, orderly markets. They lack absolutely all empathy or macroeconomic understanding. They simply evaluate risk metrics and execute their deeply hard-coded retreat, leaving the human investors to suffer the brutal, unyielding consequences of the devastating plunge. The market transforms instantly from a sophisticated supercomputer back into a primitive, chaotic abyss of free-falling prices. As we sit back and observe this grand, invisible architecture humming in the pitch-black server rooms of New Jersey and Chicago, one very heavy, profoundly unsettling reality must be quietly accepted. The days of fundamentally investing, based purely on assessing a great business, and walking onto the exchange floor are definitively over. The algorithms have irreversibly transformed the entire stock exchange from an open environment of shared economic growth into a high-stakes, hyper-optimized battlefield of mathematical extraction. We have built an incredibly delicate fortress of immense complexity, towering over the global economy, completely managed by ghosts in the machine. In this profoundly isolating digital ecosystem, the machines are completely in control. The retail investor is merely a tourist visiting a heavily barricaded facility, permanently relegated to observing the shadows of transactions entirely completed before the blink of a human eye. So, how exactly does an ordinary person navigate a deeply rigged, hypersonic environment where every microsecond is endlessly weaponized against them? The answer is actually wonderfully counterintuitive and beautifully simple. You absolutely refuse to play their game. You cannot outpace a supercomputer, and you cannot outsmart an algorithm that calculates a million variables in a millisecond. If you try to day trade against these predatory bots, you will be systematically dismantled, emotionally destroyed, and financially bled dry one fraction of a penny at a time. The ultimate, unstoppable kryptonite to high-frequency trading is genuine, unyielding human patience. The algorithms are fundamentally designed to ruthlessly exploit the tiny, irrelevant noise of the present millisecond. They absolutely do not, and fundamentally cannot, evaluate the transformative value of a profoundly brilliant business operating over a span of a decade. When you choose to thoughtfully acquire a stake in a genuinely excellent enterprise and quietly hold it for 15 years, you immediately render all their microwave towers, their deep-sea cables, and their billion-dollar colocation servers entirely powerless against you. You transcend their chaotic battlefield entirely. The market's illusion is specifically designed to deeply mesmerize you, to trigger your constant anxieties, to compel you into taking an endless series of frantic, unnecessary actions. It desperately wants you to impulsively react to every single flashing red or green number on your tiny phone screen. Because action creates volume, and volume is precisely the bloody oxygen that the algorithms breathe to survive. By choosing profound stillness, by refusing to dance to the manic rhythm of the digital chaos, you slowly reclaim your ultimate power. The flashing numbers will continuously dance on the screen tomorrow morning, incredibly fast and relentlessly chaotic. Let them endlessly fight over their meaningless fractions of a penny. You do not need to constantly watch the screen to profoundly secure your long-term future. Simply step back, breathe deeply into the quiet stillness of the room, and let the relentless noise of the world softly fade away into nothingness. The most sophisticated, powerful investment strategy ever devised by humanity is simply knowing exactly when to close your eyes and comfortably rest. Take a deep, slow breath. Rest your mind well. I will be here waiting for you tomorrow night. Good night.